So patron management in SmartSuite is a piece of cake if you know a few shortcuts and tips and tricks. So let's start with what needs to be in there as the backbone to make sure that everything's going to go well. So the first thing you need to look at, you need to go into menu, you need to go down to configuration, you need to go to the authority editor. Lots of people forget about this only because it's a place you go maybe once in a year, sometimes maybe even once in a lifetime. So in the authority editor, you need to click here and you need to go to class grade. And this is where all the classifications of your students are. So whether you've got an existing student base or whether you've got new users coming into the system with new names for your different year levels. You might have had year 7s last year, but this year, because you've got 3 year 7 groups, you might have a 7A, 7B, 7C, so you won't have them in here, okay? But what you need to do, every student belongs in one of these. Therefore, every one of these need to have some parameters. And if you're looking at this and you say, oh, but I've got a grade 13 that's come along. This is sort of, you know, the ones that sort of finish year 12 but come back to do another 6 months or whatever. We're going to put them into grade 13. If you don't have a grade 13 in here, you're not going to be able to borrow to them. So you need to, and to create it, you just come in here, you put a 13 or whatever name you want to give it, go plus, and you get into the system. Okay, now let me explain. You need to check each and every, whenever you have a circulation issue, come here and check this. So check the student. What year level are they in? Ah, they're in year 11. So go to your year 11, click on the pencil, and everyone needs to have a borrowing parameter. Let me explain. Okay, for security reasons, if it's 11, make them 11. If it's a 5, make them 5. If it's a 6, make them 6. If it's a K for kindy or P for primary, just make them 0. Okay, if it's a teacher, make them 5, 0. And if it's library staff, make yourself 999. You don't need to bother about those, but it does need to have a number in there. Just make sure it corresponds with the year level. And that becomes important later on when we talk about circulation. Okay, so as long as you got a number in there, that's fine. Final borrowing date is the date we want all the books back in the library. The expiry date, in this case, the expiry date is 2nd of February. I wouldn't do that. If it was me, I would say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this date again, so make it the 12th of the 12th and work out when you think you're going to retire and make it 2080, sometime way past your retirement age, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, the system requires it, that's why it's there. The only reason you change it would be maybe for your year 12s. If you want to make sure that all your year 12s expire on the 1st of July because they're not coming back after that date, you might make it expire on the 1st of July so that when you come to borrow to them, you'll pop a message and say, this guy's expired, don't borrow to him. You're never going to get your books back. That's what that's for. Okay, how many books they can borrow, how long they can borrow for. Don't worry about the renewal limit. It's hardly ever applied. The renewal limit is if you allow them to renew their books on the web, how many times can they renew it? So if you turn around and say 2, then they can renew it on the web twice, even though they might have lost it. They'll just go renew and postpone the inevitable for 2 renewals. Or by default, it's 0. Never allow them to renew on the web. Okay, if you allow them to renew and they hit the renew button, how long will it renew for? 14 days. That's it. Okay, and how many books can they reserve? 1? No. 0. Not allowing them to reserve anything on the web. Okay, can they borrow multiple copies? So they've left the book at home, so they come and borrow another copy of it, make it disadvantaged to another kid that wants that book. So basically you don't do. The only people you turn multiple copies on for is staff, because they might come and collect a whole box of books and there would be duplicates in there, so you have multiple copies. The patron override, like staff, should never be ticked, but only for staff you tick it. Why? Because if this was a staff member and you said the staff can borrow 100 books and they can borrow for 365 days, what happened by saying a patron override, it means if they borrow a 14-day book or an overnight book, it says forget the book limit, make sure that it is this limit that applies. That's what that's for. Okay, and then don't forget to hit the save. When you hit the save, all year 11s will now get all of these parameters, and it does it in a fraction of a second. So you need to go in whenever you have circulation issues. This is the first place you'll go and check. Look at the patron you're circulating to. What year level are they? And then come back here and check if they are in here. Okay. Now, to add a patron or change a patron or delete a patron, menu, patron management. Okay. And this is where you'll go in to do anything with the patron. Okay, so it'll always come up with your record, but I don't want my record. I need to deal with Mike, M-I-K, M-I-C. So you can just put in part of his name, part of his surname. So I'll go there and I'll go Mike Smith. That's the one I want. When you bring Mike Smith up, that's his information, and you can change any. So you can give him a new class grade, you can give him a new homeroom. Actually, Mike Smith is a year 10 student, and he belongs in homeroom 10. So he actually belongs in 10C. Okay, and then save. That's it. If you want to delete Mike Smith, just go delete. It says, are you sure? And if you go yes, it will delete it if he hasn't got any loans. Okay, if he's got loans, you need to flag the loans as lost because you're not going to get them back. Or don't delete him, keep chasing him. That's what that's for. So basically, to put a patron on, to find a patron, you go find, and once you bring the patron up, you can delete him. If you want to put a new patron on, just click new. It'll give you a brand new screen. You need to give him a barcode. If you don't have a barcode, just put any random number in there. Okay, and then so let's go and do new. Okay, new. Here we go. I'm putting a new patron in there. I don't have a barcode for him as yet. I will get it later. Okay, his first name is Joanna. Joanna M.U. Musk. Okay, and email address, I won't bother. She's in year 10 and her homeroom is year 10. So 10G, and I'll just go save. Now all of a sudden you can start loaning books to Joanna because you said they're class grade 10. Remember we were in the parameters before, so it knows how many books they can borrow and for how long they can borrow for, because it's based on the classification. But make sure that they rule as a student. But let's say that you go, no, I want Joanna to be able to log in and reserve books. Okay, and I want them to be able to renew their own books because in year 10 I said they can renew their books once. So I want her to do stuff on the web. She can search without logging in. Okay, but I want her to do stuff with this thing, check out what loans she's got. I want to give her permission to do that. You need to give her either a barcode, so you can tell her that's a barcode, or now that you've got her on the system, you've got a barcode for her now. Her barcode is 332211. That's her barcode. So you can say, Joanna, your barcode is 332211, and you need to be able to log in to borrow. But it's going to ask you for a password, Joanna. So you go change password, and you'll give Joanna, everybody, the same password, PASSWORD, verify PASSWORD, and you'll go change password, except you'll go change password on next login. So the next time she logs in, she'll put in password, and it'll say, oh, Joanna, you need to give yourself a new password. And she can give herself a new password. If Joanna forgets a password, which she will, just click, bring her up, do a find, bring up Joanna again, and click on change password, put it back to password, say, Joanna, I've reset it back to password, go and log in again. So she needs to remember her barcode. But what about this? Joanna, Joanna.Musk, M-U-S-K. Why not make it a policy that all their usernames are their first name, full stop, surname. And so if they forget their barcode, they can log in with Joanna.Musk as well. So they can use 332211 or Joanna.Musk, and they're up and running. Or why not jmusk@school.vic.edu.au. Put in an educational email address there and go save. Now guess what? Joanna can log in with 332211, or she can use Joanna.Musk, or she can use her email address to log in. Okay, any three will work when Joanna tries to log in. When you go to borrow, you just enter 332211, or you enter Joanna, or you enter Musk, or any abbreviations. You can just type in JO and all the JOs will come up, or the M's and all the M's will come up. That's how that would work. Okay, so if this was not a student, it's a teacher. So what you would need to do is, very important, get rid of the student role for the teacher. Click outside of the box. Okay, then go back and click in the box to refresh it and go, this is a teacher. And what that teacher role will do, okay, make sure you give them a class grade of a teacher as well, so they can borrow 100 books for 365 days if that's what you want. Okay, but that role is very important, because now that teacher can go into TV for Education, if you subscribe to that service, and search TV for Education and help you build your catalog by adding content to it. Massive amount of educational content. TV for Education, the largest educational user base. Incredible lessons and incredible videos in there. Okay, but what if the teacher Joanna also circulates for her class when she brings them in? Why not click in there? Okay, so click outside, click in there again, and go circulation desk. So Joanna can now get TV for Education and also circulate. Okay, but Joanna is a librarian or a library staff member. Get rid of both. Okay, click outside to refresh, then click in there again and go librarian. Now Joanna can log in and do any of these functions, absolutely any librarian function. Don't forget to hit save, and that's it. Now, if you happen to have a photograph of Joanna, and this is just a one-off because we can bulk upload, but this is just a one-off, just go and photograph her, store it on your computer, and then when you've got Joanna's record here, click upload, and just go to wherever the Joanna's folders files are, okay? And when the photo comes up, click on it, go open, and it will automatically transfer her photograph up here. And that's all there is to Patron Management. But you turn and say, yes, but it's the start of the year or it's the end of the year, and I want to be able to import all my students. All right, very easy. You need to have a CSV file, okay? And when you get that CSV file, you need, in any order, you need the external ID, which will also double up as a barcode. Okay, you need their first name, surname, year level, and homeroom. If you want to send emails out, you need their email address as well. Okay, so if you want to do a patron import, it's a piece of cake when you know how. And the first thing you're going to do before you do a patron import, you'll come in here, you'll go into configuration and the authority editor. Okay, and in the authority editor, we're going to create a new classification. So we'll come in here and go to class grade, and the new classification is called STUDNT, students left in 2020. Okay, call it anything you like, but something a bit more descriptive. Students that left in 2020. You just add that to the system. Don't put any parameters on there, because all the students that are left are going to go in here. Okay, that's all you need to do. Now, what you can do is you can go and move all your students in there that are in year 12. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to go in here, go up into Patron, and go into Patron, Smart Patron Import. When you go to Smart Patron Import, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to tell you, has it got a header? And I go, so you know the Excel spreadsheet or the CSV file has to be CSV, okay? The CSV file, has it got a header? In other words, does each column have a name, you know, like name, suburb, external ID, email? If it has, put that tick in there. If it doesn't have it, just get rid of it, so it will not import that. And then just go upload the file. When you go to upload the file, grab your CSV file. So I'm going to grab this one, okay? And it's going to come up. The first thing you do is you need to go and choose the full name, okay? Merge by full name. And we're going to import this file. But what it's going to do, it's going to import this data, and I'll show you how to map it in a minute. The only problem will be if you've got year 12s in this list and year 12s in from last year in there, you're not going to get rid of the year 12s. Okay, if you've got year 11s and this list have the new year 11s, it'll automatically roll them over. So my recommendation is, before you go into menu button and before you go into Patron and you go Smart Patron Import, before you do that, remember how we created a left in 2020? What you need to do is click in here, go menu, and then go configuration, configuration, that's correct, okay, and then scroll up, because what you want on here, let's just go back into the system here, okay, so we're going to go into menu, okay, configuration, and scroll up, and you want to get to global functions, because we're going to move all the students into that left in 2020 global functions. And in global functions, you need to choose the year levels. Normally we say to you, go into Patron and move patrons by classification, okay, and then go open. And what you do in here is you go, I'm going to move my year 12. So you'll choose your year 12s, okay, and you move your year 12s to left. Well, I'm going to show you something else. Why not do this? Go in here and starting at the top of your list, okay, right at the top of your list, move every year level. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, every year level. Okay, we're going to mark them all as left. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, now let's go down here. Oh, we got year 9. We're not going to move the administrators because we're only talking about students. Okay, we're not going to move staff. We're just going to move all our year levels. So make sure they're all in there and then go search. And what that's going to do is going to bring up every student in your system. Whether they're year 12 or year 11, you can see. You can go load more. You can see I've got 12s. Okay, I've got 8s. I've got 11s. Okay, I've got OBs, whatever they are. Okay, so we've selected all of these year levels and we're going to go change. And it says change the class grade to, and we're going to choose, remember that classification we put in here, students left in 2020. So all your year level students are now going to have a classification of not year 8, year 7, year 9, year 12. Each and every one of them will have students left in 2020 and go update. And it's going to tell you how many students there are in the system. And all you need to do is confirm. Now, I'm not going to do it on my database, but you'll go confirm. So normally it should tell you something like 1,000 students or 700 students or 400 students, however many students you've got. You just go confirm and that's it. And it'll move them all. So what it means is that the students are still going to be in the system, but they will not be in their year levels. They'll all be a classification called students left in 2020. Now that you've done that, you can come in here, go to patrons, and you go to Smart Patron Import. Okay, and if your CSV file does not have a header, get rid of that and go upload the file and choose your CSV file. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is merge by. So we're going to merge them always by full name. Very, very important. So in other words, if the CSV file has a person called Jonah Adams and the student is left in 2020 called Jonah Adams, regardless of his homegrown or classification, it's going to now pull him out of the left in 2020 and put him back in the appropriate system and in the appropriate year level. But so that's why we choose full name. Then you have to go and identify all the fields here. So let's go to column 1. So column 1 is the surname, so you need to tell it that it is the surname. Okay, so let's go down to S and go surname. That's it. So column 1 is now the surname. And it says, tell me about column 2. Well, I don't know what it is. I'm not really interested in it, so just leave it. Tell me about column 3. Okay, well, column 3 is the first name. So let's go down here and we go to first name. That's what column 3 is. And what's column 4? Well, that's the external ID, which I'm going to say is the external ID. There it is. Okay, external ID. But We're going to make the school number their barcode as well, so I don't have to run a second set of numbers for all the kids. All the loans that they've got out will stay. You don't have to worry about them. So let's add the barcode. So we'll go in here and we'll go, it is now the external ID and the barcode. That's it. What column is this? Well, this is actually the class grade. So let's go down here, and that's the classification. That's the classification. Okay. And what column is this? Well, that's the homeroom. So let's go in here and we'll go, that is the homeroom. Homeroom. Okay. And what about this one? Well, that's the parent's email address, so that in case they don't bring the book back, SmartSuite can send the parents an email about all their overdue. So go down here and go parent email 1. Okay, that's it. Now you flagged all the fields that you want to do, and you can go next step. The next step says column 2 has not selected anything. You go, yeah, that's fine, just continue. And then what it's going to say, it's going to show you that this one is a new person, that one's a new person, that one's a new person. And you can go, oh, let me just double check. Click on more, have a look at more, click on more. If you want to just double check. Okay, if you're happy with all of that, just go perform the changes. Now, it will not just perform the changes because it will send you an email to your email with a security code, or it will send the security code to the mailbox. So if you click on mailbox and go into mailbox, you will lose your patron. So don't do that. Leave it there. Just get your URL, okay, which is your schoolname.functionalsolution.com.au, highlight it, okay, and go copy, open a new tab and paste that in there, okay, and open up another tab. The old one's still there. You open up a brand new tab, and when that loads, go into the mailbox, okay. So we'll just wait for this to load, and we go in the mailbox, okay, and when the mailbox loads, we'll go into the system settings, and there's my security code. Click on that, and it says there's the code. So put the cursor there and highlight that, right click and go copy. Once you've done that, go back to where your system was sitting, paste it in there, right click and paste, and go confirm. It says, are you sure you're going to do what can't be undone? Just go okay, and there it goes, and that's doing a patron import for you. 99% of the time, you will not have any issues on the system. It'll just go ahead. If patrons existed in that left in 2020, it'll grab the patron, bring him across, and when he brings him across, it will allocate the new barcode. If he's got a new email, it'll do all of those things. Some validation failed. This is not important, okay? So you don't need to worry if it says some validation. As long as it says patron import finalized and no other errors in here, you can go ahead and you can say you've effectively imported all your patrons. So you can now go into your system. So let's go into circulate. Oh no, let's go to patron and patron management. And in patron management, you can go ahead and you can do a find, and you'll find everyone's in there. Just go find S, anyone starting with S, and there they all are. Okay, and you've got everyone in there. Okay, and you can just click a person and bring it up, or you can turn on and say no, SMI. So anyone with SMI, it'll bring up all those people with SMI. Benjamin Smith, okay, he's in year 1, so just click on Benjamin's record, and there he is. He's in year 1. He's a homeroom LA1. He's a student. He's brand new. He's in there. You don't have to do anything. It's done. Go straight into circulation. Remember, if you have any issues with circulation, find out who the patron is, find out who the class grade is, and just go back into the configuration menu, into the authority file, okay, and then check that year level, that classification. So go into class grade. If you have issues with year 1 students, click on year 1, click on the pencil, and you go, oh, that's why year 1s can't borrow. So this must have been a new year classification created by the system in that import. So make him 1, and 12th of the 12th 2021 is the final borrowing date. 12th of the 12th 2080. Okay, he can borrow 4 books. He can borrow them for 14 days. He can renew it for 14 days at circulation desk. That's it. And I'll go save. And everybody now in the system that are year ones, so let's go back in again. So let's go to circulation, and let's call up someone who's in year one. Okay, so SMI, so Smith, there's a year one, Benjamin Smith. Click on him and no problems, no errors. See, it's telling you year one, his borrowing limit's 4, you can borrow 4, that's his bar, and you just go ahead. And that's all there is to Patron Management. Simple and easy. Have fun and give it a go.